So I have to say that I have a huge fondness for the lake around Sunnyside, where that big public swimming pool is, and where they have that pavilion, the Sunnyside Pavilion, where they have bands and you can rent it out. And there's a little restaurant on the beach, and you can watch the beach volleyball and the dragon boats go by. And to me, that little area represents what the beach could be all over, and yet, you know, there's huge parts of it that aren't inviting that way to come and hang out in. And it's just sort of interesting because if you go to a place like Berlin, they've made beaches along the river because it's such a wonderful resource to have, and yet we've got it and we're not really using it in those ways, right? Like why is it such a difficult thing to get down there? Why is it such a difficult thing to park? Why is it so I don't know. It's sort of, people talk about the gardener sort of shutting it, like creating a barrier, but I don't know. I also think it has to do with the development of all the condos down there. So those people with those condos do spend time down there, but it doesn't represent a shared space for all of the city. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like they've tried, but it just doesn't quite get there. But that Sunnyside area does. I love that area.
I was living here in Toronto since 1996, and I'd never been to Toronto Island until about 2008 or something, when I had a friend visit from London. I didn't even know about Toronto Island, and then she was an artist who came from England and was staying at Gibraltar Point, and in the summertime, and I went to visit her, and I came back and I said, "Wow, have you ever heard of this place? You know, like, it's amazing." And Chris said, "Oh yeah, I've been going there since childhood." But anyways, it was my first experience, and thinking back, like my orientation to my, you know, from this house I can walk to the beach in 20 minutes, more or less, and but again, it was probably like I was probably here for 12 years before I ever considered doing that, and but now my orientation is very, you know, I like almost, you know, I'm at the lake. Well, maybe not enough, but I'm probably there twice a week now, and that's quite nice. So that's a sort of a difference from my life before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ever since I remember being born, which was 36 years ago, you couldn't swim in the lake unless you ferried to the island, which felt like a different lake because it was such a big deal to get over there. So not being able to swim in a lake makes it feel not lake-like. But then on top of it, there's very little to do that's by the lake because the gardener just cut us off completely from it. So it always feels kind of gross to try to like get across the gardener to go like look at the lake that you can't swim in, or you can at your own risk, I suppose, these days. I feel like more people do now than did when I was a kid. It was like you'd come out with 3 eyes if you went and swam in that lake. So it doesn't feel lake-like. No, it feels weird. Yeah. And we've been going to Fort Erie, and it feels like a lake there. Like it's the same pointing, it's the same size, and yet you can walk into it. So it feels like you have an interaction with it that makes it feel more like a lake and less like something you look at across a highway.
Mm-hmm.